Wage negotiations between gold mining companies and trade unions, NUM, Amcu, Uasa and Solidarity, resumed today after being postponed for 2 days to allow the NUM to attend Cosatu's special national congress, which ended yesterday. The talks resumed behind closed doors without Amcu, as the union indicated last week that it wants to declare a deadlock. But Amcu is at the venue waiting in a separate room to talk separately with the employers about its current position. Well, for more on this, I'm joined by Mbongeni Mutwa, my colleague who's reporting on the talks. Mbongeni, tell us what exactly is happening now, especially with Amcu.
Well, what happened is last week, at the end of the third round last week, which was last week Wednesday, Amcu indicated that they wanted to declare a deadlock, basically, which means that they see no point in continuing to talk with the employers in this forum because they feel that no progress is being made. You'll remember that Amcu is demanding an increase of 12,500 rand a month for all its members. The offers from the employers currently range from an increase of 450 rands to around 750 rands a month. And now what has since happened is that in terms of the recognition agreement between Amcu and the individual gold companies, in cases of wage negotiations, before Amcu can declare a dispute and maybe go to the CCMA and so on, they must first engage in what is called a dispute resolution mechanism here, which is what they are here for today. But they are saying that they are already preparing to go to the CCMA, and if no agreement is reached there, they will look into their options of possibly embarking on strike. We can quickly take a listen at what the General Secretary of Amcu, Mr. Jeff Mphahlele, said to me earlier on this issue.
Amcu never walked out of these negotiations. But what Amcu did, Amcu said, Chamber, we will engage with yourself from the 15th to the end in a mechanism way to find a solution, in a dispute mechanism, so that as predetermined by our recognition agreement, that before we can announce any deadlock, we must involve those companies, sit down with them, discuss and see whether we can find solution. This is the meeting we are in.
So, Mbongeni, what are the other unions saying?
Well, the other unions are saying that, well, they're not interested in what Amcu is doing currently. They are saying they are here to negotiate with the Chamber of Mines and the gold companies. And to that extent, they resumed the negotiations with the employers earlier today. And in that meeting, they were tabling their formal response to the offers that were presented by the companies. And we understand, in fact, we are told by the NUM, the General Secretary of the NUM, which is, according to the Chamber, is the majority union here, that in that session earlier today, the unions, including NUM, made concessions. In other words, they agreed to lower their demands, sort of, which is a bit of a big step if you consider what has been happening since the start of the negotiations. At this point, we can take a listen at what David Sipunzi, the General Secretary of NUM, had to say on this to me earlier.
We believe we have taken a step forward because we have made some concessions as mandated by our members in the last week. All three unions that are remaining in the negotiations, that is NUM, Uasa and Solidarity. At the time we broke for lunch, the employers were going to study the responses and respond back.
So, Mbongeni, is there light at the end of the tunnel in terms of reaching an agreement?
Well, you know, when you have unions making concessions, in this case NUM, Solidarity and Uasa, on their demands, it is a big step, but the Chamber is not getting carried away by this. They are saying they don't want to say that they are now optimistic or anything. They are saying there is still a very long way to go in these talks, but they are now going to look at what these other three unions have presented earlier today, their concessions and so on, and see what what they can do with that. And they are also going to meet with Amcu separately, of course, this afternoon to see if they can make some progress with Amcu as well. We can now take a listen at what Dr. Elise Stridom, the chief negotiator of the Chamber of Mines, had to say to me earlier.
It's too early to say. We need to now talk to Amcu. Then we need to reflect on the other three unions' responses. Then we see if we can make some further progress. And this is a progress, and it takes time. And just to remind everyone that in 2013, we only concluded an agreement on the 10th of September. And normally we don't conclude agreements before August, early September. So there's still time. Maybe we're lucky and we conclude earlier, but there's still time and it's a process.
Well, thanks very much, Mbongeni. That was Mbongeni Mutua reporting live from Boksburg at the Gold Wage Talks.